how Queen changed music, man. But the beats goes on, and I remember reacting to the beats goes on video, and it was about how the Beatles changed music. So and it was very fascinating to me. So I was like, no, I need to react to the about the Queen in a video about the Queen, and I wanted to learn about its history, the band itself and how it was created, and the only member I know from the Queen is Freddie Mercury. So I wanted to know about all the members and how how did they meet each other and who was first and that and all that stuff. I was very interested on that. So yeah, sit tight, man. Stay with me. We're gonna read this together. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, and let me know down below in the comment section. If you have any extra recommendation. Oh man, also man, like any song I react about Queen, man, out of copyright. I mean, they don't even let me upload on YouTube. They just block it right away. So I'm gonna probably have a Patreon account and maybe upload the videos like the reaction of the songs that y'all can see it or y'all can have it on YouTube. I'm gonna put it on Patreon and maybe starting by because I did react to Queen I think it was Bohemian Rhapsody. I reacted to that song. So I have it on Patreon. So I'm gonna maybe put a link on my Patreon, and if you wanna go react it, that'll be good, man. So let's check this out.
Imperial College, London, 1968. Brian May and Tim Staffel, two longtime friends and students at the college who had previously played in a band together, decide to start a new band. May would play guitar and Staffel would play bass and sing. They placed an ad for a, quote, Mitch Mitchell / Ginger Baker type drummer, and another Imperial College student named Roger Taylor auditioned and got the job. They named the band Smile, and soon began playing gigs all over town. Soon, they got the attention of the American record label Mercury Records, who signed them in 1969. They recorded 3 songs at Trident Studios in June. Meanwhile, Staffel's friend Freddie Bulsara, who had been in various bands, had probably become
Freddie Mercury is his real name is Freddie Bulsara. Okay. Got him.
Smile's biggest fan. He was at all their shows and kind of like an unofficial fourth member. However, Staffel didn't like the direction Smile was going and left the band to form a new one called Humpy Bong. Brian May and Roger Taylor still wanted to perform their songs, but they needed a new lead singer. Enter Freddie Bulsara, who enthusiastically took Staffel's spot. Bulsara convinced them to change the band's name to Queen.
Man, a good thing it changed the name from Freddie Bulsara to Freddie Mercury, man, because it would have been kind of it just doesn't sound right. I know that's his real last name, but the stage name is good, man. I like it, Freddie Mercury. So I know, yeah. Let me know where it originally from. It feels like it's from it's from the UK, but is descendant, man.
The next year, he would change his own name to Freddie Mercury. Freddie sang beautifully, but wasn't big on playing instruments, so Queen would need a bassist. The band went through 3 before John Deacon ended up joining the band, who not only excelled at bass, but also at tinkering around with electronics. After that, Queen practiced relentlessly. As a 4-piece, they played their first show on July 2nd, 1971 at Surrey
Show 1971.
College. By that point, they had already recorded a 4-song demo, but had no luck attracting record labels with it. Using his graphic design skills, Mercury designed a logo for the band based on the zodiac signs of its members. Those 2 lions represent Deacon and Taylor, both Leo. The crab represents May, who is Cancer, and the 2 fairies represent Mercury, who was Virgo. In 1972, the
That's dope, y'all. Never knew that, man. I haven't known about the logo, man. I should have fucking paid attention about the logo of Queen and see. Yeah, that's genius, man. He obviously designed that, man. Oh, I'm
Band got
learning a
their
lot, man, so far.
first break thanks to producers John Anthony and Roy Thomas Baker. They got them a management deal under Neptune Productions to try to help them get a record label. One of the biggest perks was access to Trident Studios, one of the best recording studios in the world at the time. The band got lots of quality time learning how to produce magnificent recordings in those studios and recorded quite a few songs with Anthony and Baker. The next year, Neptune Productions got them a contract with both Trident and EMI Records. On July 13th, 1973, EMI released Queen's self-titled debut studio album. Elektra Records released it in the United States. It was a mix of heavy metal and progressive rock, and the few critics who reviewed it generally loved it. However, the lead single, Keep Yourself Alive, didn't do well, and the album failed to get much mainstream success. In November, Queen went on their first major tour to support the band, Mott the Hoople. After that tour, the band went right back to Trident Studios to finish recording songs for their second studio album. EMI and Elektra both released those songs as the album Queen 2 on March 8th, 1974. The album ultimately also didn't do that well, but the cover of the album first featured this iconic picture of the band, taken by
Yo, I have this on my thumbnail for the Bohemian Rhapsody reaction. So yeah, that's why I was kind of excited, y'all. It is an iconic picture right there,
Nick
man.
Rock. Also, the album featured the band's first true hit song in the UK, Seven Seas of Rye. Why was the song a hit? Well, mostly because back in February, the band appeared on the popular BBC program Top of the Pops after David Bowie had to cancel. Yep, they were a last-minute replacement. To promote Queen 2, the band went on their first ever headlining tour of the United Kingdom. In April, they went on their first ever tour in the United States. However, in Brian May, that is, in May, got really sick with hepatitis, and Queen had to cancel the rest of their tour dates. The band decided to record some new material while May recovered. May had also developed a stomach ulcer and was so sick he couldn't even join them to record his guitar parts. So producer Roy Thomas Baker stepped in quite a bit. Finally, May was able to join the band in the studio, but apparently spent a lot of time in the bathroom between takes. Poor guy. Regardless, they eventually finished what would become a masterpiece, their third studio album, Sheer Heart Attack, released by EMI and Elektra on November 8th, 1974. The album was a hit both in the United Kingdom and United States, thanks in large part to the lead single, Killer Queen. Sheer Heart Attack definitely had catchier and radio-ready songs, drifting away from the progressive rock of their first two albums. That said, by this album, Queen had developed a stunningly original sound.
She's a killer queen, gunpowder eternity, dynamite with a laser beam.
Highlighted by the musicianship of the four members, the more than 3-octave vocal range of Freddie Mercury, and the advanced and innovative production. Sheer Heart Attack also featured the hits Now I'm Here and Lily of the Valley. Oh, and the album.
This could be some future songs for my future reactions. But like I told y'all, man, a lot of Queen songs, man, they have like they're being blocked a lot, man. So I don't know if I'm the only one or maybe I gotta find another way. Cause even though I do a reaction, I muted like the sound, you know, I just had the video playing and I kind of tweaked a little bit of sound, you know, so they wouldn't, it wouldn't pick up copyright. And that was like immediately blocked, y'all. So yeah, I should be able to be released on my YouTube maybe in a couple of days, but you won't have any sound, you know. But you'll hear a little tweak there, so it won't sound good, you know. Sometimes it'll feel like very silent. But you know, if we that's why I'm gonna post the full reaction without editing and all that stuff on Patreon. So yeah, So check it out.
Album song Stone Cold Crazy might have accidentally created speed metal. By January 1975, Queen was now in the mainstream and went on a world tour, returning to the United States as headliners this time. They sold out so much that they had to add more shows, sometimes playing 2 shows in one day. The band dressed up in elaborate costumes, and the shows had all kinds of special effects. In April, Queen arrived in Japan with more than 3,000 adoring fans there to greet them. Throughout the year, the band tried to get out of their contract with Trident Studios, which was kind of screwing them over since they didn't see much money at all from the first 3 albums. They finally split with Trident in September and got a new manager named John Reed, who also happened to be Elton John's manager. Meanwhile, they had been recording at various studios what would become their 4th studio album, A Night at the Opera, named after the classic film. Supposedly, it was the most expensive album ever recorded at the time of its release, around $425,000 in
today's money. Oh, he's about to say
today's money. They multi-tracked the heck out of it, and especially layered harmonies on top of each other in a way not done in recordings ever before, with May singing lower parts, Taylor singing higher parts, and Mercury everything else. They used a wide variety of instruments and explored a wide variety of styles. The songs were complex, yet still immediately catchy. The most epic of
Like I tell y'all, I reacted to this song before reacting to this one. I reacted to Bohemian Rhapsody before. So my reaction I'll probably release it later on, but so I was very surprised of the production of the song man. It was unbelievable, man. It was crazy. And the first time I reacted to the entirety of the song, man, it left me like very stunned, man. Very I didn't have no words, y'all.
Epic songs recorded for the album was Bohemian Rhapsody. If you've never heard the song before, for crying out loud, go listen to it right now. It's only 6 minutes. Just come right back. Welcome back. Yeah, like I said, the song was nearly 6 minutes long, which is why the record label executives and friends of the band were all like, that's too long of a song. It will never be a hit. The band disagreed, and Mercury snuck a copy of the song to his friend, a popular DJ named Kenny Everett, only if he promised not to play it. Wink, wink. Oh, Everett played it all right, 14 times in 2 days, and everybody loved it. And it ended up being one of their biggest hits, ultimately becoming the UK's 3rd highest single of all time. Queen even made a music video for it, which bands typically didn't do back then. Keep in mind that this was 7 years before MTV existed. EMI and Elektra released A Night at the Opera on November 21st, 1975. By Christmas, Bohemian Rhapsody was at the top of the UK singles chart and stayed there for 9 weeks. Another standout hit from A Night
Crazy record, yo. Crazy record.
at the Opera was You're My Best Friend. Queen went on another world tour to support the album, and by now, we're one of the biggest bands in the world. On September 18th, 1976, the band played a free concert at Hyde Park, which drew a crowd of over 150,000. It was organized by Richard Branson. Yes, that Richard Branson. Meanwhile,
I've seen Richard Branson somewhere. I don't know from where. Yeah, let me know about Richard Branson. I remember that face. I remember that face from somewhere.
Queen had also been recording what would become their 5th studio album, A Day at the Races, named after another Marx Brothers film. It was the first album in which they completely produced it themselves. Released again by EMI and Elektra on December 10th, 1976, A Day at the Races was another smash hit. It featured the singles Somebody to Love, Tie Your Mother Down, Good Old Fashioned Lover Boy, and
Somebody to Love, y'all. I did react to that one. Great song.
Long Away. Critics generally praised it, and today it's on many greatest albums of all time lists. Queen toured to support the album for the first half of 1977. This was the tour in which the crowd began to often just take over singing all of their songs, and was the inspiration for 2 new songs which would make their next album. Those 2 songs, We Will Rock You and We Are are the champions. Today, the two songs, which of course are usually played back to back since they were released together and radio DJs just started playing them that way, are known for being two of the most famous songs of all time. They are especially known as sports anthems.
There we go, sport anthems. Because that's how I know, or I knew about this song, because that's where I heard, these songs for the first time, sport. A team wins a championship, and I hear like, we are the champion play, and we also that play too. But I don't know if that plays like they ring the games or after. I think after team wins, but yeah, usually that's where you heard this song play, man. But yeah, but I didn't know they were from Queen, but I knew the song. I didn't even know they were from Queen, man.
And
Crazy.
Elektra released the band's sixth studio album, News of the World, on October 28th, 1977. Other than We Are the Champions and We Will Rock You, the album featured the singles Spread Your Wings and It's Late. This album saw the band abandoning their symphonic rock sound a bit and returning more to their hard rock roots. Yeah, 1977 was an interesting year in music. That's the year when punk rock exploded around the world, and many music fans were turning against progressive rock bands like Queen, who was a seemingly easy target since they had such popular appeal. This might be why critics at the time were generally not as excited about News of the World. However, today many argue it's one of the best Queen albums. The band once again went on a worldwide tour to support the album. By this tour, their shows were more spectacular than ever before, with amazing special effects and crazy costume changes. From July to October 1978, they recorded their seventh studio album, Jazz. Jazz had a more lighthearted feel to it, and featured three of their most well-known songs today: Bicycle Race, Fat Bottomed Girls, and Don't Stop Me Now.
Funny things, I haven't heard any of those songs. Or maybe I heard them, I just don't know what they're called. But right now, I don't have any recollection, any memory. I don't remember. I've never heard the title of the song, so I don't know, man. Maybe one day, y'all. Like I tell y'all, if YouTube doesn't block them, man. So yeah, one day I'm gonna get to these songs.
However, when it was released by EMI and Elektra on November 10th, 1978, many critics trashed it. One famous critique came from Dave Marsh of Rolling Stone magazine, who wrote that Queen had become too elitist, saying, quote, "This group has come to make it clear exactly who is superior and who is inferior. Its anthem, We Will Rock You, is a marching order. You will not rock us, we will rock you."
I know, man. Conflict, y'all. Man, was that song we were rocking intended to Rolling Stones? Like, was it like I don't know. This is not a Rolling Stone. The rock group. Is it the rock group? Yeah, let me know. But it looks like it. But I know, man. We will rock you. Was it meant to somebody or to that group?
Indeed, Queen may be the first truly fascist rock band, unquote.
Yeah.
Other journalists criticized the publicity stunt of staging a nude female bicycle race to promote the album. But it wasn't just critics. Band members Roger Taylor and John Deacon both expressed they didn't like how Jazz turned out. That didn't matter. They were probably at the height of their popularity, selling out shows as they continued to tour around the world. On June 22nd, 1979, EMI and Elektra released Queen's first live album, Live Killers, recorded from the European portion of their Jazz World Tour. On October 5th, they released a single for the song Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Somebody told me to react to this song, Crazy Little Thing Love. They started telling me to react to Bohemian Rhapsody, and the second song was like, you should react to Crazy Little Thing Called Love. I think it was a tribute to Elvis Presley? I don't know. Yeah, let me know, man. Oh, yeah.
Freddie Mercury made the song as a tribute to Elvis Presley and completed it in less than 10 minutes. It's basically a rockabilly song and sounded nothing like anything Queen had created before. Strangely, the song ended up being the band's first #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States. Meanwhile, the band was continuing to experiment in the studio. They began using synthesizers. Hey, just in time for the 80s. All this experimentation and led to their most diverse album to date. Their 8th studio album, The Game, released by EMI and Elektra on June 30th, 1980. In addition to Crazy Little Thing Called Love, the album featured the singles Save Me, Play the Game, and Another One Bites the Dust, which features one of the best bass lines in music history. The Game was both a critical and commercial success. In fact, it went on to become their best-selling studio album in the United States. Another One Bites the Dust eventually became the band's biggest-selling single, and it even became a crossover hit, getting as high as number 2 on both the Hot Soul Singles chart and the Disco Top 100 chart. Disco? Yes, disco. In September 1980, Queen performed 3 sold-out shows at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Meanwhile, the band had recorded their first soundtrack for the space opera film Flash Gordon, featuring the single Flash. EMI released the Flash Gordon soundtrack on December 8th, 1980, and Elektra released it in the States the following February. It was their 9th studio album. In 1981, Queen toured South America for the first time. In fact, they became the first big rock band to play in Latin American stadiums. They played a 100...
Really? Crazy. The first to play. Oh, this is something interesting I learned, man. First rock band to play in a Latin American stadium. Crazy. I wish, let me see. They probably gotta tell us in the video, but that's something.
131,000 and 120,000 on 2 consecutive nights in Sao Paulo. They played to a crowd of more than 300,000 in Buenos Aires. On April 6, 1981, EMI and Elektra released Roger Taylor's debut solo album, Fun in Space. While Queen toured throughout most of 1981, they did return to the studio in the fall, specifically Mountain Studios in the small town of Montreux, Switzerland, one of their favorite studios over the years. Well, guess who showed up one day? David freaking Bowie. In October, a Queen jam session featuring Bowie led to the creation of Under Pressure, which today is considered one of both Queen's best songs ever and David Bowie's best songs ever. They quickly recorded and released it on October 26th, 1981. It immediately was a worldwide hit. That same day, EMI and Elektra released Queen's
Under Pressure. I need to make sure to write it down because David Bowie and Queen's best song.
First compilation album.
Hold on, give me a second. I gotta write this down so that way I have it here. Pressure. David Bowie and Queen. David Bowie. Queen best. I'll just put like David Bowie and Queen song released, by both of them. Crazy, man. I never knew that. All right, let's get going.
Greatest Hits, which featured their greatest hits up to that point. Now, this is not your typical greatest hits album. It eventually became the best-selling album, not just greatest hits album, but album, period, in the UK. Queen's greatest hits album has basically been on and off the charts my entire life. It has spent over 900 weeks on the UK albums.
900 weeks. Let me see. I gotta figure this out. Give me a sec. Damn, 17 years, man. That's crazy,
charts, which is a record, by the way. And 400 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart. Go ahead and check your parents' or grandparents' record collection. It's there, isn't it? In 1982, Queen decided to stick with synthesizers and disco, recording their 10th studio album, Hot Space, released by EMI and Elektra on May 21st. Hot Space marked a big shift in direction from the band's earlier music, not only embracing disco, but also going all in with funk, R&B, and even dance.
For what it's worth, we're gonna do a few songs in the funk black category, whatever you call it.
This is the live edit, right?
That doesn't mean we've lost our rock and roll feel, okay?
Not quite.
It's only a bloody record. People get so excited about these things.
So, yeah, this shift scared some fans away. Those who only adored their more familiar rock sound did not dig Hot Space. Still, millions bought the album, and the radio played the heck out of it, especially the singles Body Language and Staying Power. Hot Space had Under Pressure on it, too. Oh, and Michael Jackson, who by this time was friends with the band, later cited Hot Space as a big influence influence for his own album, Thriller. You've heard of that one, haven't you? For most of the rest of 1982, Queen toured to support their album. On September 25th, they performed on Saturday Night Live, their only performance on the show. However, by that point, their popularity had clearly declined in the United States. And over the next few years, they would focus on touring elsewhere. In 1983, however, they took a break from touring altogether. Freddie began to record a solo album, and Roger began to record a second solo album. In April, Brian began recording, joined in the studio by folks like Edward Van Halen, Alan Gratzer, Phil Chen, and Fred Mandel. The result of these recordings would end up being...
It took a break, they went solos, yeah. I mean, you know, as long as they can go back, you know, being Queen, they could go do their solo projects, you know, and you know, because sometimes you want to have your own thing, and you know, you're being together for so long. It was kind of like the same thing with the Beatles. Remember when the members kind of like split for a little bit, make their own things, you know, but they actually eventually, or I might say eventually, you know, reunited to make like something together again. So
the Starfleet project, which Brian released on October 31st, 1983. By that time, the band had reunited to record what would become their 11th studio album, The Works, released by EMI and, this time Capitol Records on February 27th, 1984. The Works saw the band bringing back at least some of their more guitar-based rock sound, yet still incorporating an electronic sound. The Works featured the singles Radio Gaga, It's a Hard Life.
Radio Gaga, I remember Freddie that sang the song during the Live Aid concert, yeah.
Hammer to Fall, and I Want to Break Free. The music video for I Want to Break Free, which features the band dressed in drag, was controversial in the United States. MTV even banned it. Goodness, MTV, I thought you...
This is crazy right here, man. Nowadays, they ain't gonna make it, y'all. This ain't gonna make it.
You used to be cool. Anyway, on June 25th, 1984, EMI, Capitol, and Parlophone Records released Roger Taylor's second solo album, Strange Frontier. 2 months later, the band went on tour to support The Works, and it was the first to feature Spike Edney on keyboards. On April 29th, 1985, Freddie Mercury finally released his solo album, Mr. Bad Guy, with the help of Columbia Records. 1985 was the year for gigantic shows for Queen. In January, the band headlined 2 nights of the first Rock in Rio festival in Rio de Janeiro. They played to 300,000 fans each night. And then the biggest...
300,000 fans each night. That is crazy number. Those are crazy numbers. I said that in Peru. That, man. Success, man, of this great rock band, progressive rock bands, whatever. You know, I came from watching the Beatles, now the Queen, and there are more, man, that I don't know about, you know, their history. So it's gonna be very interesting for me to learn about their history too. So, and you know, so far I'm liking this one, man. Learning a lot about Queen, man, and its members, its history. You know, how to change some people's lives, or you know, some people how they view music in general. So yeah, it is crazy, man.
And most famous Queen performance of all time.
This is a Live Aid concert right here. I remember this part right here. Yep. There we go, right there.
On July 13th, 1985, the band performed to one of the biggest television audiences in history. An estimated 1.9 billion people, 72,000 of them in person, saw Queen give a mesmerizing performance of their greatest hits at Live Aid, a huge benefit concert to raise money for those affected by the Ethiopian famine. Queen was the highlight of Live Aid. Freddie's call and response, "Ayo!" radio segment later was called, quote, the note heard round the world. Today, it's regarded as one of the greatest rock performances of all time. The Live Aid performance re-energized the band, and they headed back to the studio in September. Over the next few months, they would record what would become their 12th studio album, A Kind of Magic. Meanwhile, John Deacon started a band called The Immortals that recorded one song and then broke up. I guess they weren't immortal after all. EMI and Capitol released A Kind of Magic on June 2nd, 1986. Much of the album is part of the soundtrack to the film Highlander. Singles on A Kind of Magic included the title track and One Vision. The album was a commercial hit, but received mixed reviews from critics. The tour to support the album, which was another huge success, would sadly be Freddie Mercury's final tour with the band. In April 1987, Mercury found out he had HIV, a horrible virus that attacks the immune system and leads to
crazy,
AIDS.
man.
At the time, having AIDS meant you usually didn't have very long to live.
Yeah, man. Nowadays, having HIV, it's not nothing, yo. I mean, you could survive, could live peacefully, y'all. Because the medicine advanced, and example of Magic Johnson, someone like Freddie Mercury nowadays, it'll be cool. It'll be living like really good. He has the financial to get treatment. And for me, that back then maybe the research wasn't about the disease, about the virus wasn't that advanced. So it was like, yeah, I remember when I used to live, man. There was a girl too who caught HIV, and she immediately knew that she was done for because any salvation, pretty much, any cure. I mean, there's still not a cure, but at least you could kind of keep the virus dormant. So yeah, it's very sad, man. Like being taken by a virus, y'all, and not being able to kind of like fulfill. I mean, it fulfilled his probably dreams, but to be able to do that, be able to have that dream for so long, But I feel like he passed away pretty young. So I would have loved to see him, at old age, performing live for us. It would have been cool, y'all.
Since doctors were still trying to figure out how to treat it. After Freddie told his bandmates about it, the band agreed to no longer tour. The general public would not know about Freddie's AIDS diagnosis until right before he died. For the rest of the year, the band pursued various solo projects. Freddie recorded with the opera singer Montserrat Caballé. Roger Taylor started a band called The Cross. In January 1988, Queen returned to the studio and spent the next year recording what would become their 13th studio album, The Miracle. Coming out on May 22nd, 1989, it featured the singles I Want It All, Breakthrough, and Scandal. It was the first album released in the United Kingdom by Parlophone Records, and Capitol released it again in the United States. Critics were again mixed.
I like the poster here with the four faces put together. That's crazy. That's that's very genius, yo.
About The Miracle, but it was another commercial success. By 1990, the public seemed to know something was up with the band. The band had made fewer and fewer public appearances. When they did appear, Freddie seemed to be weak and sickly. However, Freddie insisted it was just because he was, quote, exhausted. In November 1990, Queen ended their contract with Capitol and signed a huge North American recording deal with Hollywood Records. Hollywood caught the band up to modern times and got their entire catalog on CD. Meanwhile, Queen had been recording new stuff all year long. This would be their last time recording with Freddie, whose health had been deteriorating. And yet, one song they recorded during this time was one of their masterpieces that most people don't know about. The epic Innuendo, which I would argue rivals almost anything they ever recorded. This would be the title track for their 14th studio album, released by Parlophone and Hollywood Records on February 4th, 1991. In addition to the title track, Innuendo featured the singles Headlong, These Are the Days of Our Lives, and The Show Must Go On. Oh, and don't forget I'm Going Slightly Mad with Freddie and His Bananas. Critics mostly praised.
Yo, that's crazy, man. Why he has like a gorilla and he's eating banana right there.
innuendo
You know how we viewed today, man. That's crazy. Man.
and fans adored it. It was the band's most successful album in the United States since The Works. The music video for These Are the Days of Our Lives would be the last time Freddie appeared on camera. On October 28th, EMI, Parlophone, and Hollywood Records released Greatest Hits 2, which also ended up being one of the most successful Greatest Hits albums of all time. On November 23rd, 1991, Freddie Mercury confirmed to the world that he had AIDS. Within 24 hours of releasing that statement, he had died from bronchial pneumonia, brought on as a complication of AIDS. While the world mourned Freddie's death, Queen's popularity seemed to rise again. The band had 10 albums on the UK Top 100 chart. On April 20th, 1992, the remaining members played the Freddie Mercury tribute concert for AIDS awareness, a benefit for the Mercury Phoenix Trust, which raised money for AIDS research. Various rock singers sang Freddie's parts, and the show was broadcast around the world to an audience of around 1.2 billion.
I think we'll go with a little Bohemian Rhapsody, gentlemen. Good call.
That same year, Bohemian Rhapsody went to the top of the charts in North America after the song was featured prominently in the film Wayne's World. Meanwhile, Brian, Roger, and John had come across
Well, you could see how, I mean, Freddie wasn't known to be like very high, but it was in shape. It was skinny, but good skinny. You know what I mean? I look here, man. You could see that. You know, over here, I think it at least weighs like 100 pounds. That is crazy, man. Because that's what happened when you have HIV, man. Just like your health keep deteriorating, and it's like you lose a lot of weight, man. So we just pray to God to take care of yourselves and make sure that you always check yourself out or check yourself in. At least every month, or I don't know, you should do like a diagnosis, a physical checkup just to see, you know, how your body is, all that stuff, because you never know, man. Some diseases might be dormant, and they just, you know, if they find out pretty late, and it'll be too late, man. Let's say you have protected sex, and with a stranger, a girl you met or a guy you say you met somewhere, you gotta make sure check yourself.
parts Freddie had recorded before his death. They added their own instrumentation and ended up turning that into an album. That would be Made in Heaven, Queen's 15th and final studio album, released by Parlophone and Hollywood Records on November 6th, 1995. It included the singles Heaven for Everyone, A Winter's Tale, and Too Much Love Will Kill You. The album kinda did feel like heaven. It was so happy and carefree, critics generally praised it, and it proved that up until the day he died, even if his body was deteriorating, his voice and songwriting skills remained incredibly strong. In the following years, there were many compilation albums, the occasional reunion, lots of side projects and collaborations, and even a few solo albums from Brian May and Roger Taylor. In 2001, Queen was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. In 2004, the band was inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame. Later that year, Brian and Roger announced that Queen would reunite for a world tour the next year with Paul Rodgers, who founded the bands Free and Bad Company, as the singer. Freddie had loved Paul as a singer, by the way. John Deacon would not be involved with the project, as he had retired from music by this time. But Spike Edney would. Heck yeah, Spike. Queen plus Paul Rodgers would be a thing over the next 4.5 years, even recording an album together, The Cosmos Rocks, released on September 15th, 2008. Paul and Brian and Roger split ways in 2009. That year, Brian and Roger began working with the popular show American Idol and developed a liking for singer Adam Lambert. The three hit it off, and Queen plus Adam Lambert have been a thing ever since. They've played hundreds of shows around the world, and when they couldn't play in 2020, 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they recorded a song called You Are the Champions, and it was a minor hit. Today, Queen is just as relevant as ever before. They remain one of the biggest and influential rock bands of all time. Some estimate
Indeed.
that the band has sold around 200 million records, which is just insane. Their musicianship is mostly unrivaled. They further helped progressive rock, hard rock, and heavy metal enter the mainstream, and over the years developed a completely distinct sound all their own. They constantly pushed the envelope, yet still constantly had broad appeal. There will never be another Queen, and Queen will never
Indeed.
die. Long
Right.
live Queen.
Indeed, man. Indeed, y'all. There will never be another Queen, and Queen will never die, y'all, because they influence a lot of people, and they influence the whole world, and pretty much, man. So if you know the music, if you grow up listen to music, the music never gonna die, man. So yeah, hope you like this reaction. I got your next one, peace.